Hello, disruptors, and welcome back to another episode of Mindset Mastery Moments, the top 1% podcast, where we disrupt limiting beliefs, challenge the status quo, and unlock bold new levels of leadership and purpose. I'm your host, of course, your number one mindset disruptor, Dr. Alisa Whyte, and today's episode is so powerful. I know I say that all the time, but it just keeps getting better. We're talking about the powerful journey into self-discovery, healing, and saying yes to the life you were born to live. Joining me is a woman who has lived 1,000 lives of resilience, service, and reinvention. I'm talking about the glowing, beautiful woman that's sitting here. If you're watching us by video, Miss Lori Pappas. From surviving a traumatic childhood to founding a global charity that's touched over 100,000 lives in beloved Africa. Lori is the epiphany of what I live to become as I grow older. Lori is an award-winning entrepreneur, mentor, and now a best-selling author of a transformative memoir called The Magic of Yes. Embrace the wise woman within. I can't wait to dive into all the wonderful things we can learn from Lori today. Lori, it's such a privilege to have you here today. How are you feeling as we are ready to dive into this conversation about the magic of choosing yes?
You know, I'm so excited. I just love your energy. I do. I mean, I'm on a magic carpet ride right now. So
let's go, sister.
It's so fun. So fun.
Oh, I'm so excited. And so, Lori, we always want you to tell us in your own words who you are, what you do, and why you do it, because that's the big thing that most of us want to know behind the accomplishments.
Okay. Well, who I am is, you've already done a great job of introducing me. Thank you so much. And what I do, well, I'll tell you what, Alisa, my answer to that question has changed a number of times.
I am sure. Tell us about it.
You know, over the last 3/4 of a century, because I'm 76 years old right now.
Wow.
So the doing has always been a fun thing for me, and for a long time it defined me. I was a doer as an entrepreneur. I was a doer as a humanitarian. Mm-hmm. And now I am really stepping into being a wisdom-seeking elder. And it's a glorious role. Mm-hmm. It's just the most energizing. And as I mentioned to you right before we went live, I am learning more today than I have learned any other time in my life.
Wow.
And quite frankly, I'm having more fun. I
love it.
Fun. You know, it's it's wonderful.
Oh, I'm so excited to meet you. I felt like it was such an honor when I first when they sent over your info. I was like, of course, I want her. I want to meet her, because everyone who listens and watches a podcast know that this podcast. I love sharing my wonderful gift of being able to meet the incredible individuals I meet, what they get to listen in. This podcast is about me learning, growing, and connecting. You guys just get to listen. So I was like, oh my goodness, it's almost like you're going to have this great wise sage. And I told you before we got on here, you are a future version of me, right? And so that is the thing about my journey, is I am so hungry for knowledge and nurture as a woman, because a lot of times, you mentioned you've been an entrepreneur and also a humanitarian, and that's just what I do, how I get to express my purpose as well. And a lot of times that journey can be such a hodgepodge of some beautiful and some disastrous moments.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, it's full of struggles and challenges. It is. I mean, a meaningful journey is full of struggles and challenges.
Yes.
All has to do with then how we use those struggles and challenges to access the wisdom that we all have inside of us.
Exactly. That is exactly it. So for me, a junior, a baby, just not by age, I'm talking about on the journey of serving the way you are and have for so long, it's my honor to sit with you, right? So let's dive into some of the things that you are teaching us that you've learned in this beautiful book, Mastering the Magic Within. You say in your book that we all have the power to play the cards we were dealt.
Right.
How did that belief shape your path? Because that was like, talk to me, because that's some real talk. That's real talk.
Okay. Well, I was dealt some good cards, and I was dealt some not so great cards. And one of the not so great cards was my mom. And mothers can be difficult, but my mother was religiously delusional.
Oh man. Wow.
And she was convinced that I was possessed by the devil. So she spent my childhood trying to exorcise me.
Wow.
To basically get rid of me. And when I was 16, she convinced my dad, and this was her last hurrah, that he should commit me to the nut house.
Wow.
Now, you have to remember, so I'm 76 now, that was 60 years ago.
Yes.
And insane asylums were really not a safe place to be. They were a place of lobotomies, they were a place of shock treatments, bad stuff.
They didn't really even have a clue what they were doing. Yeah.
Well, I can't go there. I can't. I can only speak to myself that it didn't take long before I found myself stumbling down the hall, and I would be fuzzy-headed and hard to think. And one day I hyperventilated and passed out. So when I came to, I was lying on my bed, and there were two girls sitting in my room. And the one girl was saying, "Oh, I'm so scared. Tomorrow they're going to do shock treatment again. And they said, if I don't cooperate, they're going to do a lobotomy." And boy, I'll tell you what, that cleared my head real fast. It was like, holy smokes, what is going on here?
Yeah.
And I realized at that moment in time that it must be the pills that they were giving me that was making me so fuzzy-minded and confused. And at that moment, I realized I'm going to have to trick them in some way and not swallow the pills and work to get out of here. And that's what I did. Wow. So, and Alisa, as I talk to people and listen to their stories and listen to my readers' stories, so many people are being forced to swallow things that they shouldn't have to. They really shouldn't have to, whether it be in relationships, or with money, or with children, or families that are messy, what have you. And the more I think about this, the more I realize, those struggles and challenges are really the key for finding your wisdom.
Wow. Yes, that's why they exist. That's why they exist. Every struggle, if you commit and you have the mindset of, what can I learn from this? And how far can I go with the knowledge I obtained from this experience? I love that. I have one curiosity, and I'm sure that some of our listeners and viewers will too. What on earth would make your mom think that you were possessed? Or
because I would talk back.
oh my goodness. Then we have a lot of little possessed people running around on this planet right now. Can we just get
Exactly. I mean, how many times have you known of especially little girls being said, "Oh, you're such a good girl because you're such a disruptor." I mean,
and you know what I call myself, and a lot of people question me calling myself the number one mindset disruptor, but I will not stay silent until I help 1 million people completely change their lives by changing their mindsets, because they're going to help another million each. And that's when we're going to disrupt the whole world.
that's right. Because you know what? No matter who you are, where you're born, what your situation is, every single one of us has choice.
That's right. And we don't have to swallow the pill.
We don't have to swallow the pill. And at 16, I started stuffing those pills in my cheek and pretending to swallow and spitting them out as soon as I could.
Yeah.
And you don't have to swallow.
Wow.
And you have choice.
Yes, you have a choice.
Right.
Yeah. So let's talk about boundaries and self-care and saying no, because I'm thinking about having to swallow or pretend to swallow the pill.
Right.
You talk about releasing guilt and learning to advocate for yourself. What
Right.
was that shift like for you personally? How did you do that? Because you had to, obviously, everyone thinks you're, you're not okay. There's something wrong with you. How did you advocate? I mean, obviously, you silently did by saying, I'm not taking this pill. That's advocating quietly without showing an act of out loud rebellion. But how did you continue to pivot into that persona of setting those boundaries and taking care of yourself and advocating for yourself?
Well, to be really honest, in some aspects, I was really good. I did a really good job, particularly professionally. I figured out how to run a business. I figured out how to motivate. I could advocate, but it was in that doing mode where I was a total disaster personally. I mean, I had 2 failed marriages and working a zillion hours a day, trying to juggle. I was a mom, trying to juggle my family, my job, grow the business. I was trying to be super mom, but I wasn't super mom. I was probably more subpar mom.
Wow.
And so advocating professionally came easy. It took a long time to learn to advocate personally.
Wow.
Yeah.
I get that. So you needed to make that shift in your personal life. And what did that look like?
Well, it was messy because I do everything with vigor.
Right. Go big or go home.
Exactly. I mean, whatever I'm doing, I do it vigor, and I'm not real silent about it and what have you. But yeah, and I'd have to say, if I'm really being brutally honest,
Please be. This is what Mindset Master Moments
yeah,
do.
the way I disentangled myself from my second marriage was I escaped to Africa. I mean, that's a little dramatic.
I want to escape America for a little bit to Africa. That's kind of what I'm plotting over here.
Yeah. Well, this was back in like 2007.
Right. Okay.
And that was so liberating because when I was there, I realized I didn't have to follow their cultural constraints because I wasn't part of that culture.
Right.
And no longer did I have to feel bound by my society's, my birth family's cultural constraints. And I was free to define my own supposed tos.
Uh-huh.
Right.
Supposed tos. Ooh, Go with it. I'm sorry. That just give me chills down my spine. My
Right.
own supposed to's.
Exactly. Because, face it, when you're born, it's kind of like when you come out of that womb, you've got a helmet that gets put on you that tells you how you're supposed to think.
Yes.
Sleeves put on you that tell you what you're supposed to touch. You've got a bodice put on you that's basically telling you how you're supposed to function. You've got leggings put on you, kind of telling you where to walk. All of these are society's supposed to's, your family's supposed to's, your religion's supposed to's. And it really doesn't have a whole lot to do with your own personal moral compass.
Oh, come on. Talk to us.
Your moral compass is something that you, as an individual, have the right to define.
Yeah.
You, as an individual, have the right to decide what you believe, what matters,
Yes.
how you are going to personally live your life.
Yes. Wow. That is so profound. We could end the episode now because there's someone out here. There are a few people listening, a few thousand people that are going to listen and think, oh my gosh, she's right. Whose supposed to's am I living by? This is why I'm so unhappy, unsettled. So how do you find your way? Your way was you went to Africa, and I'm here, in Africa. Let's say I'm here in Africa and I'm living everybody's supposed to. How does one tap into their and create their own supposed to? What would that look like on a general basis?
Well, it's all about harvesting your wisdom and then putting that wisdom into action. And I'll tell you how. I'll give you a clue.
Yeah.
It all comes down to one little word, and that little word is dream.
Oh, come on.
Now, I'm not talking about a daydream or frivolous dream or anything like that.
Yeah.
I'm talking about dream, where D is for desire. What is it that you need and want? And R is reflect. What do you know? What do you know? You know what? When you're reflecting, you got to get rid of that emotional baggage and that clutter. That's all that noise that's getting in the way.
Yes.
And then E is explore. Well, what else can you learn? What other things can you explore? What other perspectives should you take a look at? There's so much more. And then A is so important. It's acknowledge. Acknowledge that life can really suck at times.
Yeah.
And that it really doesn't seem fair.
Really. Never does.
Bad things can really happen to good people.
Yes.
There's hardships. And that's life. You're a human being. That's life. But then there's a mantra. And mantra, M is for mantra. And mantra is an idea, a thought, a prayer, something that sets the mood and encourages you along the way. And that's really what my readers are telling me. That is working for them to put their wisdom into action.
Yes.
Because, people really want to dream in a way that will transform their life.
Yes.
And when they dream in that way, then they truly are able to embrace that wise woman within.
Yes.
Find the magic of yes.
I love that wise woman within. So that is just so profound. The dream. I'm going to sit there and I'm actually going to create something for my wall that reminds me, because I'm never going to be too far, too high, too grown, too successful, too recognized, too known, too whatever, to remember to keep dreaming. It is definitely that way, anyway. That way.
Exactly.
Your way that you give this, Lori.
Right. And I'll tell you what, I give it as a gift. If people go to my website, loripappas.com/dream. They can download a dream for free.
Oh, wow.
No strings attached. They can download a dream for free because I want people to dream.
Yes. Yes.
And to learn how to articulate what it is they need. And then to use that as the platform to start reflecting.
Yes.
On what you already know, because you already have the answer inside you. Yeah.
It's not going to come from a guru. It's not going to come from a coach. It's not going to come from your psychiatrist. It's within you. Now, we can help you activate yourself on the path to uncovering what life has allowed you to bury. As Lori, you so skillfully put it, I can't unsee it now, that there was a helmet put on my head, a coat put on my shoulders, some leggings on my thighs and my feet, and shoes on my feet. And this is what you are supposed to do. So everything within you goes shrinking, shrinking, shrinking. When you're a little child, stop it, you're too loud. Oh, that hurts. You're okay. No, I'm not okay. Are you crazy for talking to me like this?
Well, and my mother got a little extreme.
Exactly. She got extreme, but because in that era, there was no way, because I was born in 1980. No shame here. I'm proud to almost be 45. And in my era, you would get slapped upside the rooftop if you talk back. So I cannot imagine, in 19, your time, 60 years ago, what that looked like. I mean, you can't even, in my era, you couldn't even look at someone like, I get kids and I say, you call their number like, what? And they look at you like, don't even start. That's how they look at you. We couldn't even look up when people spoke to us. We had to keep our head down. Right? So of course you're a nut job for trying to talk back to somebody.
Right.
In the 60s, in the early 50s and 40s. No, you're not going to do that. They're not going to take it. So you've worked closely with the Hammer tribe in Ethiopia.
I have.
What did their communal values teach you about humanity?
Oh my gosh.
And connection.
They taught me so much. I love them so much. One of my closest friends is Gulu Bola. And Gulu is a true wise woman. Here's a woman that was born into a family of like 8, 9 kids. She was married off as soon as she got her period. And she was the donkey of the family. She had to carry the water, do everything. You can't imagine the life of the women.
Yes.
In those areas. But I'll tell you what, I saw so much community, so much care. They take care of each other.
Yeah.
And they take care of each other in such a loving way that doesn't draw any attention whatsoever to themselves. And they're the ones that taught me to truly embrace my wise woman within. They were my teachers.
Wow.
I look at them as my wisdom-seeking elders.
Wow. That is incredible. I love that. And so the wise woman within, if you want to tell us, what did you hope for your readers to walk away from when they read this book?
Well, what I used my personal stories
Mm-hmm.
and stories of other women to illustrate what it looks like to say yes, whether it be to challenging the status quo, winning with the cards you were dealt, forgiving yourself and others,
Mm-hmm.
asking for help. I mean, there's like 16 different areas. And I wanted to have stories that people could relate to.
Yes.
And then I really, really wanted to have something that they could take out of that chapter that they could put into action.
Yes, action.
So every single chapter has a dream that supports that message of how you, embrace life and love.
Mm-hmm.
How do you really get an alignment between your environment and yourself and your surroundings and what you read and what you do? So I wanted something that people could relate to, that people could be inspired by,
Mm-hmm.
that could be a guidebook that could help them start on their journey or help them as they're already on their journey.
Yes.
And then that's why I also created a Facebook group, the Wise Woman Sisterhood,
Yeah.
as a gathering place for people to be able to share and grow. Because I'll tell you what, Alisa, I really think it is up to us
Mm.
to bring peace in this world. And we start by having peace within our own body.
Yes. 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 I agree. I agree. I agree. And so when it comes to women, what is it that drives you? What is it that drives you to connect women, to connect to their wise woman within themselves?
It's really, I find it very curious
Mm-hmm.
because the first half of my life was spent helping men make more money.
Wow. What was your role?
Well, I started a tech company
Oh.
and our company sold software into the manufacturing arena.
Oh.
And it is still going, quite frankly. So it's very successful. We were I was one of the first females in the world to sell computers. And
Wow. That is
we were
awesome.
pioneers in all these different things just because I didn't have any money. And when you don't have any money and you want to get something done, you've got to figure it out.
Right. Right.
So then that next period of my life was really when I was in the middle of the Sahara Desert and it was really, really hot and really, really dry. And 9 hours from nowhere, a little girl came up to me with flies on her face. And I just couldn't stop thinking about that little girl
Mm-hmm.
because that little girl could have been my granddaughter.
Mm.
And my darling Ella had done nothing special to be born my granddaughter. And this little girl had done nothing wrong to be born into that disease-ridden life.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the moment that had me start questioning, well, would I be able to start a nonprofit and find funding and implement projects and do all this stuff in Ethiopia?
Mm.
And with the most marginalized people in the world down in the South Omo Valley in the Hammer tribe.
The Hammer tribe, yeah.
Yeah. And you figure it out.
You figure it out. I love that. That is, it's funny. I'm loving seeing parts of me and my thought process in you, I come up with these ideas and I figure it out.
Right.
And sometimes I'm like, how did you do that? Like, oh, I just figured it out.
Exactly. I mean, one thing I'm really, really thankful that I was given gifts, just like I was given struggles, but I was given the gift of intelligence.
Yes.
I was given the gift of
negotiation.
Yes. And so I just really have I've always figured that, well, I can figure it out. And then if I can't figure it out, then I just lower the bar because, well, then maybe it needs to look like this, or maybe it needs
right.
to
You're flexible with that. And that's
right.
what I tell creatives and entrepreneurs, because a lot of times that's supposed to thing, right?
Right.
Sometimes our own supposed tos are self-imposing.
You think?
And vision imposing as well. When even we have to understand, it's not even about limitations. I still believe we're so very limitless. And it's not even about being realistic. It's about us creating this fantasy, right? And making it as supposed to. And a lot of times it is still buried in the versions of the supposed to from what we're given by culture, society, parents, trends, whatever it is. And it's supposed to. Now we've no room for it to unfold. And that's what I love about kids. They get into a box of toys and they start putting things together. They don't know. And then they're like, look what I made. And you're like, what? And they're like, it's a fire truck. It's a dollhouse. It's a doggy paddle or whatever. And they're just making stuff up as they go in that bewilderment. That's why I talk about a lot in this journey to come back sometimes to that childlike thought process of, I wonder, what if, what is it? What can I, what can it become? I don't know. I don't care. I'm going to just have fun with this right now. And so you figure it out is what comes. And when you do, it's a lot of times even better than you can imagine, because it's always the process that matters most.
Well, and sometimes you hardly recognize it for what you started out with, but it is that, I think you're so right. It really, to me, it comes down to a couple questions. One is, what if? And then the other question is, well, why not me? Why not me?
Why not something totally different than what I thought?
Yeah, why not? So, and I think one little tidbit I'd like to mention to the listeners is that become really good at making little mistakes. Make a lot of them. Just make a ton of little mistakes.
Be okay with it.
Right, and learn how to make them fast. Because if you can make little mistakes fast, you learn so much. And it keeps you from making the big ones. It also,
is wise.
Yeah. It also really, really develops that resilience muscle.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I love that. I love that so much. Keep making the little mistakes, make them fast. So you bypass a lot of those bigger ones that you gotta find too much time to repair. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much for giving us that, Lori. On the show, we do something called Flip the Script. It's a segment that we absolutely love, where we ask every guest to share a moment when they had to flip the script, when you made a mindset shift that changed everything. What was that moment? What was the mindset shift that you made?
Well, I had two of those moments. The first moment I shared with you, when I was in Niger in the middle of the Sahara Desert, and that little girl came up to me on that hot, dry day with flies in her face. And
Mm.
that, even though I was in my mid-50s, tired, I started asking that what if question. What if, could I, can I? The other moment that I would say flipped the script and put me on this path was over in Ethiopia. I eventually had a lot of employees. I had a lot of different grants, but the government's very, very difficult. The language is very difficult. And I would get home at night exhausted. All I wanted to do was to climb into my armchair, get a glass of wine, and read a book. And then the electricity would go out.
Yeah.
And I would have my 3 little candles there. And I couldn't read. So I would start to think. And that's when that big moment came when I thought, well, what if instead of doing all these things, I just really would be? What if I could just be and not do? And what if I could look at all those struggles and challenges I had with the for-profit business, with the kids, with the government of Ethiopia, with 2 failed marriages? What if I could take those challenges and those struggles and turn them into wisdom and recognize the wisdom that's within those lessons?
Wow.
And that's what I did. And then I needed to share it. I needed to share what I learned.
Right.
And that's why I wrote my book.
Wow. You did that. That pivot was profound. What's the
scary pivot?
It's
a scary pivot.
Yes, I'm sure.
Yeah. But now I've totally embraced it and I love it.
You love it. It's part of what makes Lori Pappas Lori Pappas.
Yeah, I love it. I just am so happy that I'm 76 years old.
Yes.
I have this chance to meet wonderful people like you, to talk to listeners that maybe I'll meet someday, maybe not. But if I can help you learn to dream in a way that will transform your life, wow.
Yes.
You've made me so happy.
Absolutely. Wow. What does success look like to you now after this beautiful journey that you've lived?
Well, success to me really isn't about what I get. Success to me is what I can give. And I was successful in my for-profit business because I made our customers healthier businesses.
Yeah.
I was successful in my humanitarian work because the Hammer all of a sudden had water and schools and reproductive health and nutrition and all those kinds of things that we were able to bring to them. And success to me now is if people go and download the dream. It's free.
Yeah.
If people can learn how to dream in that way that is transformative by really knowing the desire.
Yeah.
And understanding how much you know. You know so much, but you've just got to get rid of the noise.
Yes.
You've got to separate the noise from what we know. And then explore. Much. And let's be realistic and acknowledge. I mean, there's hardships, there's hurdles, and you make mistakes, just make them fast.
Make mistakes and make it fast. I'm going to take that. Yes.
And then mantras. I love mantras. I mean, wow. Just, it can be any idea, any song, any thought. It can be different every day, but it's just something that encourages you and sets that mood. And then you're able to harvest that wisdom and you're able to put it into action. And that's what people are telling me, and then that does allow you to dream in a transformative way.
Yes.
Race that wise woman.
Raise that wise woman. Yes. Oh my, I love it. I love
Magic. Yes.
What is the next big thing that you're working on, Lori? And what kind of mindset does that require for you?
I said it. I think I said it all in my epilogue of my book. I got to the end. The publisher had the manuscript. It was all edited, and they said, "Well, we need an epilogue." And I sat there and I thought, well, so what's my dream? What is my dream? And well, my desire is a big desire. I mean, I really want peace on earth. Well,
come on. I'm here with you. I want that too.
I really,
let's do it. Let's do it.
Want peace. And I want people to feel that peace and to not be so angry, but to be able to feel peace in their own skin. And
yes.
So then when I reflect, it's like, well, we really know a lot. We know a lot of what doesn't work, right? I mean, we know a lot about what doesn't work.
Yes.
So that's great. We've got the problem half solved.
Yes.
And so that frees us to really look at others and then to explore. It's so easy to explore these days. It's so easy. I mean, you've got AI, you've got all kinds of technology tools. It's so easy to explore.
Yes. We can go. I have my VR and I get on YouTube and I explore different countries and lands and oceans and anything they put up there. I go to the winery sometimes and I just sit there and I'm just fascinated with the beauty of nature. And it's almost like I'm on this magic carpet, just experiencing these things. And I remember the first time I did it, because initially I was weeping. I was just over water and it was so beautiful. I was in probably Maldives or somewhere, but there's so much you can do now that doesn't even cost that much if you can't afford it.
Right, exactly. And and my acknowledge in my epilogue is, I am 76 years old. And yes, I was a pioneer in technology, but now I'm a Luddite. And there are so many wonderful young people that are so eager to make things happen.
Yeah.
And so really, what my role is just to facilitate and to be a wisdom-seeking elder that's accessible.
Yeah. I love that.
And my mantra is, by God, we're going to do it. I mean, we women are going to do it.
We're going to do it.
Rise up, and it's up to us to really combine our voice. And we are wise. We are.
Yeah.
We're wise.
We're wise. And so when we put ourselves together, like, I'm not going to let go of you. We have even more wisdom and more wisdom and more and more and more to really infuse it throughout the world. And I do believe that we will see world peace, because world peace is not convincing our governments to change. It's us taking that accountability to own our supposed tos and
define our supposed
tos. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
when we do that, it creates peace within us. And now we become agents of peace and we infuse
Right,
that to the next, to the next. We have children who are raised with that understanding. And that's how we get world peace. That's my thing. That's why I believe in mindset mastery.
right,
Because if we get people to connect that whole process of healing and reframing
right.
how they think, feel about themselves, then they start to think and feel about the world and the people in it very differently. And we act
Absolutely.
differently.
You know, when we're at peace in our own skin,
Mm-hmm.
we have that feeling of peace in our own skin. And we realize that the only thing we can really change is our own behavior.
That's it. That's it.
All the difference.
We can wish away the governments, we can wish away law and policy. But if for some reason we can really just harness the power of mastering self.
Right.
And that's not something, when we say I try not to use these words because it gets real tricky for some people. I try to make it as basic. But really, I love how Lori says it. You're supposed to. Take care of your ish. All your ish is your ish. What about you? There's this video that got viral. This little girl, her dad's asking her, "Let me help you with your seatbelt," because she's trying to put it on. She's like 2.5 or 3 years old. And he keeps asking her, she's like, "No, you worry about your own self." And that for me is my lingo. That's probably one of my mantras is worry about your own self.
Yeah.
Because so many times as a humanitarian, I want to do so much for people. I want to say yes to everything I want to be, I want to do. And I need to worry about my own self, not just only in self-care, but in boundaries so that I can pour from a cup that's filled enough.
Exactly. Absolutely.
Oh, I love that. Oh, powerful. Lori, we do another segment that's called Mindset Bites to go. Before we close and we talk about connecting with you and your beautiful work and your Facebook group and all that stuff, we always ask you to leave the audience with some Mindset Bites. It's a mic drop moment from you, a short but powerful takeaway, 90 seconds or less. What is one mindset shift you want every listener and viewer to make after reading your book? I step away from the microphone and the camera, and it's all you. Here we go.
Hey, what I really hope you do is I want you to dream. And remember, it's just D is desire. What is it that you really want and you need? And R, so what do you know? Without the noise, without the emotional baggage, without the supposed tos. And E, what else can you learn? What can you Google? What can you do on your VR? What is available? And different perspectives. And A, acknowledge. It can be tough. It can be tough. Probably will be tough. And you're guaranteed to make some mistakes. Just do it fast. And then M, don't forget the mantra. Have a thought, have a prayer, have a song, something that sets the mood and encourages you along the way. And that is what my readers say to me, is that's what allows them to dream in a way that transforms their life. And that then you are able to embrace your wise woman within and find the magic of yes.
Wow, that is so powerful. Listen, 76 where she is full of fire and energy and zest. And I am so honored to have met her, a soul sister across the miles. We're on the West Coast, so I will get to see her. I know there will be a meeting of us in person. Lori, you've been just so magnetic today with us on the podcast. I'm so lit up, and I'm tickled pink that I got to meet you virtually, and I'm going to meet you in person soon. Tell
Absolutely.
us, how do we connect with you and all the wonderful work you're doing?
Well, the best way to connect with me is on my website, and that's Lori Pappas. And I'm sure it'll be in the show notes. It's LoriPappas.com. If you, I have a Facebook group, the Wise Woman Sisterhood. All these links are on my website. I have a newsletter, Sticky Thoughts, which is a glimpse into the past taken by other extraordinary women. And I do virtual book club meetings. We call it Friends with Dreams, and you can sign up. And so for an hour, I'll join your group on Zoom, and we'll discuss what it is that you want to talk about.
Oh,
So
I love that.
there's a number of ways to connect. It all goes through my website.
Awesome. And we will see her in the Mindset Mastery 360 community as well. We'll just have that session with her. We'll put that together with you, Lori. It's loripappas.com. She also has a bunch of different shows that she's been on. Lori Pappas / podcast. It's in the community, and then her Facebook group, the wisewomen.org. The Magic of a Yes book, all in the description wherever you're listening and watching this. Connect, and you will definitely see me around her platform as I got my invitation to the Facebook group as a wise woman that's growing from within.
Absolutely. I'm counting on it. That'll be great.
Awesome. Lori, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom, your insights, and your joy and infectious energy for life and zeal of just making a lasting change with becoming the best version of yourself, is what I call it.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And that's what it is. It's when you let your light shine.
That's it. It's not meant to be under a bushel. And to everyone listening, remember saying yes to your healing, yes to your inner wisdom, and yes to the life you deserve is a revolutionary act, but it starts one step at a time. You can connect with Lori at www.loripappas.com. Join our community of wise women on Facebook. I'll see you over there. And for now, keep mastering your mindset and keep saying yes. You are the it that you have been waiting for. I'm Dr. Alisa with my co-host today, Lori, saying take care of yourself, and we'll see you real soon.
Absolutely. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.